The Chevy Malibu once held its place as a staple of the American midsize sedan lineup. But today, many drivers and auto experts agree the Malibu is falling behind in just about every category that matters. If you're considering buying a Chevy Malibu, whether new or used, this video is your wake-up call. We're diving deep into the reasons why it's become a risky investment and why so many owners end up with regret. From poor engineering decisions to design flaws and reliability nightmares, the Malibu has developed a reputation that no brand wants. Stick around as we explore the real-life problems behind this once-respected nameplate. By the end, you'll understand exactly why the Malibu struggles to compete and what smarter alternatives you might want to consider instead. 1. Engine problems. One of the most frequent and costly complaints about the Chevy Malibu centers on its engine reliability, particularly in models equipped with the 1.5-liter turbocharged four-cylinder engine. At first glance, this engine promises fuel efficiency and modern performance, but in practice, it's become a headache for thousands of owners. Common issues include sudden stalling, random power loss while driving, rough idling, sluggish acceleration, and check engine lights that seem to appear out of nowhere. These problems often show up early, sometimes before the 60,000-mile mark, and leave drivers facing expensive diagnostics and repairs. What makes matters worse is the unpredictable nature of the failures. Some report problems with the turbocharger, others deal with fuel injectors, ignition coil failures, excessive oil consumption, or even premature timing chain wear. These aren't just minor annoyances. They can cause your vehicle to break down without warning, and when the engine falters mid-drive, it's not just inconvenient, it's downright dangerous. Even more frustrating is how inconsistent the fixes are. You might get lucky with a software update, or end up paying thousands for major engine work. In some cases, repairs are temporary, and the same problem resurfaces months later. For a car that's supposed to be practical and dependable, the Malibu's engine problems are a massive letdown. It's not just a flaw, it's a fundamental failure in engineering and long-term quality. Second, transmission failure. If engine problems weren't enough, transmission failure is another notorious issue plaguing the Chevy Malibu, and it's one that's even more frustrating for owners. Many models from the past decade, especially those equipped with 6-speed automatic or CVT transmissions, have developed a reputation for early and unexpected failure. Drivers often report symptoms like hard or delayed shifting, hesitation between gears, jerking during acceleration, or worse, a complete inability to shift at all. What's especially alarming is how frequently these issues show up before the vehicle even reaches 100,000 miles. Some owners have experienced transmission failure as early as 60,000 to 70,000 miles, just after the powertrain warranty runs out. That means they're stuck footing the bill for a major repair that can cost between $3,000 and $4,500, depending on parts and labor. And sometimes, replacing the transmission doesn't even solve the root issue, because the problem stems from faulty software calibration, weak clutch packs, or even poor factory quality control. It's even more disappointing when you compare the Malibu to competitors like the Toyota Camry or Honda Accord, which are known for having bulletproof transmissions that last well into the 200,000-mile range. In contrast, the Malibu's transmission feels like a ticking time bomb, and one that can fail at the worst possible moment, whether you're commuting to work or driving on a highway. For a vehicle that's supposed to offer dependable transportation, this is a glaring and expensive weakness. 3. Cheap interior materials. When you step inside a Chevy Malibu, especially in the base or mid-level trims, one thing becomes immediately clear. Cost-cutting dominates the interior design. The materials used throughout the cabin feel cheap, brittle, and outdated. Hard plastics cover large surfaces, from the dashboard to the door panels, and even areas where your arms rest, like the center console or door armrests, lack proper cushioning. Over time, these materials not only look worse, but they age poorly, fading in sunlight, rattling on rough roads, and even cracking in high heat climates. The seats, especially in non-leather trims, use fabric that wears quickly and absorbs stains and odors easily. Stitching can fray, buttons can loosen, and the overall fit and finish just doesn't hold up to daily wear. It's the kind of interior that feels fine in a rental car, but disappointing for something you actually own and rely on every day. In contrast, competitors like the Mazda 6 or Hyundai Sonata offer soft-touch materials, real stitching, and thoughtful details even in their base trims. The Malibu? It feels like an economy car disguised as a mid-size sedan, with none of the upscale touches you'd expect in this price range. For many buyers, the interior is where you spend 100% of your time. If it doesn't feel solid, comfortable, or well-made, the overall driving experience suffers. And that's exactly the case with the Chevy Malibu. Fourth, electrical gremlins. Modern cars rely heavily on electronics, but in the Chevy Malibu, that's where a whole new set of problems begins. Owners frequently report persistent electrical gremlins that affect everything from convenience features to vital safety systems. The most common complaints include malfunctioning infotainment screens that freeze or go black mid-drive, glitchy touch responses, Bluetooth and USB failures, and delayed backup camera activation. But it doesn't stop there. More serious issues have included faulty sensors that trigger random warning lights, power locks that stop working intermittently, and push-button start systems that fail entirely, leaving drivers stranded. One of the most frustrating parts of these problems is that they are intermittent and difficult to diagnose. Dealerships often can't replicate the issue, or they reset the system temporarily, only for the same problem to come back days or weeks later. In some cases, owners have had to replace control modules or wiring harnesses at their own expense, sometimes more than once. These aren't just annoyances. They impact daily usability and long-term trust in the car. A vehicle should be reliable, not a rolling gamble every time you hit the ignition. When something as basic as the infotainment or electronic locks can fail with no warning, it reflects poorly on Chevy's overall engineering. In a world where buyers expect smart, seamless tech integration, the Malibu's electronic reliability issues feel like a step backward, and a costly one at that. Fifth, depreciation nightmare. One of the most painful surprises for Chevy Malibu owners comes when it's time to sell or trade in the vehicle. The Malibu is known for terrible depreciation, often losing up to 50% of its value within just 3 years. That means if you buy a new Malibu for around $28,000 today, you might only get $14,000 for it by the time your loan is barely halfway paid off. And that's without any major mechanical issues. It's not just a financial inconvenience. It's a huge red flag about the car's perceived long-term quality. Even when owners try to sell their Malibu privately, many find it difficult to attract serious buyers. Dealerships often offer lowball trade-in values, and private buyers are wary of the car's reputation. If you're someone who wants to maintain equity in your car, or simply avoid losing a big chunk of your money in a short time, the Malibu is a bad bet. It's not just that it depreciates fast, it's that few people want one once it's used. Sixth, poor reliability ratings. If there's one area where the Chevy Malibu consistently disappoints across multiple model years, it's reliability. Year after year, the Malibu earns below-average scores from major auto review outlets like Consumer Reports and J.D. Power. These ratings aren't just numbers. They're based on thousands of real-world owner surveys and vehicle inspections, covering everything from powertrain durability to electrical stability, build quality, and long-term maintenance costs. Unfortunately, the Malibu's report card is riddled with red flags. From the engine and transmission issues we've already discussed to problems with fuel systems, emissions sensors, infotainment glitches, and even steering component failures, this car is far from a set-it-and-forget-it daily driver. And what's worse, these issues don't just impact older, high-mileage vehicles. Many 2- to 4-year-old Malibus are already facing repairs that should never happen so early in a car's life. Reliability isn't a luxury, it's a necessity, especially if you're buying a car to use daily, for work or family. You want something you can count on. Unfortunately, with the Malibu, that peace of mind just isn't there. And when your car can't be trusted to work without surprise problems, it quickly becomes more of a liability than a convenience.